guys, it's Moki. Happy New Year. Today is January 4th, so I'm admittedly a little bit late filming this, but I believe that it's never really too late to start things, right? So here we are. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I set up my bullet journal for the year ahead, 2021, and also for the month of January. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about bullet journaling, why I prefer it, and my personal journey with it. But if you want to skip directly to the setup, I'll add a timestamp here so I can help you out with that. You're welcome. If this is your first time hearing about bullet journaling, I think you might have been living under a rock, but I don't judge. So what it is basically an alternative method of personal organization developed by the designer Ryder Carroll. It's meant to help you understand your goals and meet them more quickly and more effectively. It's basically meant to help you be a little bit more productive and just be on top of things. Instead of using a traditional planner, you use a blank notebook with gridded pages instead of lined ones, and you basically set up your own layout. There are some rules and guidelines that you have to follow. For example, every bullet journal should include some core sections like an index, a future log, a monthly log, and a daily log. But for example, me, I basically don't really do monthly logs at all. I just stick to like weekly spreads. I've been bullet journaling for about 4 years now. I started back in 2017 after watching this like beautiful bullet journal flip through from 2016 from this YouTuber called Cheyenne Barton. Basically, after watching her video, I fell down the rabbit hole of bullet journal YouTubers and watched a bunch of them and got so inspired. I remember being so intrigued by the whole concept of turning something as simple and boring as planning into a creative outlet, and I also love the fact that you could customize it so much. And so that's when I started, and I never really looked back since. The reason why I prefer bullet journaling is that it allows me to keep track of my day-to-day tasks in life in a way that a traditional planner was never really able to. Plus, I also like having that little bit of artistic expression to shine through my spreads. So I'm not really a bullet journal fanatic whatsoever. Some people do just fine with traditional planners, others prefer to organize their life digitally. I believe that everyone has to find their own personal method that works best for them, which might even be like a mix of the two. I personally prefer to use a mix of paper and digital. I integrate my bullet journal system with a few apps on my phone. I use the TimePage app as a calendar for future events. I really love the UI design and prefer it to the regular calendar app. Then I use Bear, which is a note app. Again, I prefer it to the regular Apple one because you can tag all your notes and divide them by categories and folders. So it's quite easy to find what you're looking for. I use it for everything really, to write down grocery lists, wish lists, diary entries sometimes, favorite quotes, passwords that I most likely forget. The notes that I use the most are my task archive, which is a list of every single task that I need to get done, and also my inspiration feed, which is basically a list of books that I need to read, podcasts that I want to listen to, films that I want to watch, and so on. I've tried making spreads for lists like that on my bullet journal before, but I found that I never really went back to update them or look at them even, so I realized that keeping track of those things digitally was infinitely better for me. So yeah, the mix of digital and paper just works perfectly for me. If you're thinking, why is she not switching to digital completely? You definitely do have a point. I could do that, but there's something very freeing about writing down a task on paper that makes bullet journaling a very mindful self-care moment only for yourself. It gives it more meaning and more intention, and I prefer it to doing it on a note app because that would just feel like extra screen time that I want to avoid because it just increases my anxiety. So throughout the years, my style and method of bullet journaling changed many times according to my needs, but there have been plenty of times where I would just stop bullet journaling for months at a time. That was mostly because my mental health was not stable at all, and so I would go in and out of very dark moods, and whenever I felt productive and motivated, I would journal. When my mood would go down, I would stop. I'm just going to take this moment to talk a little bit about how important it is to take care of your mental health and physical health first. You need to take care of yourself first before starting big or small projects or whatever you have on your mind. If your mental health is not good, then you're most likely going to fail. I learned the hard way the past few years. I always thought that I could do everything I wanted as long as I planned and used my bullet journal and made good lists, tasks that were effective and to the point and straight and concise, and I thought that was it, but really I didn't have like a good foundation, which is again good mental health, and therefore I just failed many times. And now that I am finally on top of things, on top of my emotional well-being, now I feel like I can finally get things done, and slowly but surely I'm getting to where I want to be. But if I didn't start therapy, if I didn't start taking care of my body, then I wouldn't be here. And so if you're struggling, I really suggest you to look inward, find a therapist, work on yourself before making a million different projects. At least that's what I believe personally. Going back to bullet journaling, another reason why I would stop for months at a time is because I was putting way too much energy and time into making my bullet journal look pretty instead of making it useful. I focused way too much on the glitter pens, the washi tape, the layouts, the doodles, and while it was great at first, I mean, it allowed me to be creative in a way that I never tried before, but I realized with time that it wasn't really sustainable in the long term, because again, as I stated before, the whole point of a bullet journal is to be effective, not pretty. The original method doesn't even call for doodles and charts and beautiful pens and stuff like that. It's just meant to increase your productivity, so it can be a great addition if you feel like you have time for it and you like it and you're a creative person, and if you feel like decorating it and making it look pretty might help you be more passionate about planning and organizing your life. But otherwise you can just skip it. It's not a requirement. I feel like people on the internet have this preconceived notion of bullet journaling as something like super bougie and artsy and creative, but really it's just a method of organization and everyone can use it. Before we get started with the bullet journal setup, I will show you what I use for bullet journaling. Again, I am a little bit extra, I admit it. I do use color pens, I still use washi tapes, I still attach cute aesthetic images on my spreads every now and then because I just like it. It doesn't really even take me that much time, but even if it does sometimes, I don't see it as a waste of time. It's like drawing or listening to music. It's an investment on my mental health, so please don't judge me. Anyway, if you're not a creative person, you can just stick to a notebook, a pen, and maybe white out if you make a lot of mistakes like I do. That's just the base and you can work with that. Anything else is just extra and you don't need it. The journal that I use is from the brand MD Paper or Midori, which is a Japanese brand. Still haven't really understood what its real name is. It's so pretty, simple and minimal. I started it last year, the start of 2020, and I only used half of it. I mean, I did skip quite a few months, so if I use it more consistently this year, I think I might have to switch to another notebook, but you know, you make do with what you have. It has gridded pages, of course. This is my second notebook from this brand. The first one I ever used was the OG Leuchtturm, which is great, but I found that I prefer having lightweight covers instead of hard ones because it just weighs less and I can bring it to places more easily. So these are my absolute favorite pens in the whole entire world. They're Muji pens. They're just superior. Little ruler, sometimes it comes in handy. This is whiteout from Muji again. Then we have these pens. They're Staedtler pens. Wait, Staedtler? I have no idea how to pronounce the brand. These are fine liners. They're called the Tri-Plus fine liners. I have all these earthy autumn fall colors that I love. And I have some markers from Faber-Castell. They're called the Pit Artist pen brushes. This is like a Japanese brush kind of thing from the brand Pentel. And I use it sometimes to write down titles or months. And then this last item, my Japanese aunt gave it to me, and although it looks like a pen, it's not a pen. You might be thinking, what is it, Moki? Let me tell you, it's a pair of scissors. It's a mini pair of scissors meant for washi tape, but I also use it for other things. But it's super handy because you can take them everywhere. So after this pretty lengthy preface, let's start setting up my bullet journal. Okay, so first things first, we're lighting up a candle because it is essential for bullet journaling. Didn't you know? Jokes, it's not, but it definitely sets the mood and it makes it a more calming, mindful experience. And it's one of my favorite things to do. Lighting up a candle, bullet journaling while listening to some Bon Iver before going to bed at night. What more can you ask for, honestly? So we're starting a new chapter, 2021, guys. Hopefully it will be a little bit better than the year that's just gone by. Okay, so the first spread that we're creating is inspired by Amanda Rachlee's 2021 setup. I was planning on keeping it super simple, but then I watched her video which was a big mistake because I ended up doing this super complicated and crafty project. Okay, it wasn't that complicated. I just had to figure out how much I needed to cut out from the pages, but in the end it wasn't that difficult, and the end result was definitely worth the time that I put into it. What I did was basically cut the edges of 3 pages to create like a little notebook inside my bullet journal. I made sure to keep a little tab on the sides of the 3 pages, and then I created 4 columns for each spread, so in total it was 12 for the 12 months of the year. Then I filled all the columns with all the days of the year, all 365 days of the year, and it definitely made my hand cramp. But was it worth it? Yes, it totally was. It was fun, and I figured I would go the extra mile because why not? I'm only making this one time this year. I won't have to do it again, so. Then I decided to add a bucket list at the back of the pages, and I will fill that out at the end of the video. Next spread is a vision board. Last year I made it on an actual whiteboard that I kept in my bedroom. This year I decided to create it on my bullet journal. So what I did was write down 2021 in between the pages, and then I saved some cute aesthetic images that I found on Pinterest and Tumblr, printed them out, cut them, and created this collage. Every image basically represents something that I want to manifest into my life this year. We have yoga. In 2020, I finally started a consistent yoga practice, and I'm super proud because I never thought I would be able to do it, but I actually now do yoga a few times a week, and I love it, and I want to keep doing that in 2021. Something else I want to keep doing is feeding my body with good food. I just want to have a balanced diet that makes me happy and doesn't make me obsess over food. Something else that I really want a lot of in my life this year is nature. I want to go on more adventures, I want to go on more hikes, I want to explore, I want to breathe in fresh air as much as possible. I want to go to the beach more often, which is something that I have avoided doing for the past few years because I was insecure of myself. And now I don't want to miss out on that because the world is about to end and we need to enjoy the good things. Something else that I want to do is just dance and feel good in my body and spend it with good people that I love that make me feel good about myself. I want to create some pottery. I learned how to do that last year and I want to put that in practice a little bit more this year. Something else that I want to do this year is really reach for my dream goal of becoming a full-time photographer. It's been a long time coming, but I feel like I finally have the right tools to do that, and I know that my breakthrough is near, so I'm very hopeful. I added that picture of the aesthetic bedroom with a vintage mirror and plants and all because if all goes to plan, I might be moving into my own place this year. After a couple of years of going back to living with my parents, which has been definitely good for my soul and for my relationship with my family, I feel like I definitely do need to gain some independence again. It will be a pivotal moment in my life, so I'm very excited for it. It would also be great to fall in love this year, or maybe find someone who can keep me company, but we don't know about that. We'll see. Something else that I want to do this year is get my first ever tattoo. The tattoo artist from the Fern Tattoo that you see on the left page is Ritki Tattoo, and she makes tattoos using actual plants as stencils, which is super fun and great. I'm not sure whether it'll actually be a fern tattoo. I don't know whether it will be that big. I don't know whether it will be colored or black and white. I still have a lot of decisions to make, but it will happen this year. The illustration on the right is from the artist Real Fun Wow. I will add both links to the description box below. Next spread is very simple and straightforward. It's called Lessons from Therapy because inevitably every time I go to my therapist I learn something new about myself. I unpack a lot of emotions and have a lot of breakthroughs, and I don't want to forget about those, so I will write a few lines to recap my sessions every time. The next spread is similar when it comes to the layout, but it's for my next actions. It's basically a replacement of the monthly log because I realized throughout the years that I was constantly repeating tasks each month because it would take me a lot of time to get them done, not gonna lie, and so I decided to switch to a next actions list that will last me however long I will need to complete the tasks. Then we have the habit tracker and mood and sleep tracker for the month. This is something new that I'm trying out because for the past few years for some reason I always did weekly habit trackers instead of monthly ones, but I want to switch back to a monthly one. I'm super curious to see how this will look at the end of the month, especially because I'm also doing a 30 days without social media challenge, so I want to see how that will affect my sleeping habits and my habits in general. What I decided to track for the month is how many times I do yoga or do workouts or go for walks and runs, how many times I actually accomplish 2 liters of water a day, given that it's January and it's cold and I usually don't drink that much during winter. I want to track how many times I take my vitamins, how often I do my skincare, and how often I read and journal. I'm also super curious to see the mood and sleep tracker at the end of the month because I've never actually tracked any of those things before because I thought it was useless, but I kind of reevaluated it because I want to make my sleeping pattern a little bit more regular, and I also want to see how many bad days I actually have in a month. That's something I never really thought about before, and I think it will be super interesting to see at the end of the month. The spread felt kind of empty and sad without any decoration, so I decided to attach an image, add some washi tape, some colored circles, and a few leaves of Monstera adansonii, which is one of my favorite plants at the moment. And then I also wrote down a little quote that goes, "Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, magic, and power in it. Begin it now." The next and last spread of the video is a weekly spread for week 1 of January. Obviously, I'm starting off from today, which is January 4th. On the right side, I'm writing down all the days of the week. Before I actually tell you how I use this weekly spread, I feel like I need to talk about something super important, which is the distinction between urgent versus important tasks. The urgent tasks never really go away, and so they always get our attention. But if we don't make room for the important ones, the urgent tasks will always end up swallowing all our time. So what I usually do on the left page is write down every single thing that I need to do, whether it's urgent or important. I don't really make a distinction. I usually divide the tasks between work-related ones and health-related ones. So I have the weekly chores on the right, but they're definitely urgent tasks, not important ones that we need to focus on that much. It's something that I need to do every week, like doing the laundry or changing the sheet, groceries and stuff like that, but they're not as important as other tasks that will help us achieve our big dream goals. So for my daily tasks, so things that I will write down under Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday and so on, I only write down top priority tasks under those days, and events if I have to like meet up with someone or if I have an appointment or a shooting or something that I really need to get done on that precise day. But otherwise, any other urgent task goes on the left. Overall, I prefer seeing what I can accomplish in a whole week rather than a single day. There's a quote that I really like that goes, "Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a month. We overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can accomplish in a decade." All that to say that it's kind of pointless to make endless to-do lists every single day because we most likely won't be able to accomplish all of those things. We might be able to do that in 1 week though. So what I do is set 2-3 maximum top priority tasks every single day, and I'm happy even if I only accomplish one of those 3, to be honest, because at the end of the week I will look at what I've done and I will feel kind of accomplished. I added yet another quote on this spread that says, "You can't rely on motivation. Motivation is fleeting. Do the thing even when you don't want to. Inspiration will come just like magic." And then I looked for some inspiration on Pinterest to decorate the page a little bit more, and I drew this Matisse-inspired doodle. Here you see me using a little piece of washi tape to bookmark the future log and also the vision board for the year. Okay, so let's flip through all the pages that we've created. We have the future log for 2021, a little calendar with a super cool crafty insert. A bucket list, the vision board of things that we want to manifest this year, lessons from therapy, the next actions list divided by categories, then we have the habit tracker plus the mood and sleep tracker, and then we have a weekly spread for the first week of January. Here you can see me filling out the first few days of the mood and sleep tracker and the habit tracker as well. And then I'm setting goals for the week ahead. I'm transferring tasks from the last spread that I made in December because I still haven't done those. And then I'm filling out my bucket list with things that I want to do this year, COVID permitting, and obviously they're all fun things that I want to do that are not work related. We reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.